Good morning and welcome to Football League World TV. My name's Ned Holmes and this is the EFL Betting Show. I'm joined ahead of a bumper weekend of EFL action by Billy Mulley and Ben Wignall, my colleagues from Football League World, who will be looking to find you some value and hopefully you have some success with your bets this weekend. Of course, a reminder, please gamble responsibly and 18 plus only. How are you doing this morning, Billy?
Doing very well, thank you. I'm hoping that me and Ben don't have anything too similar like we did last week.
Absolutely. And what about you then, Ben?
Yeah, very good. I landed a little value bet last week with Huddersfield beating West Brom at 3-1, which was a nice welcome surprise. Hopefully more to come.
Absolutely. Well, before we get started, just a reminder to subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube if you haven't already, and to give this video a like because it really will help us with the sort of YouTube algorithms. And also just to get your thoughts, your comments, or sort of any punts of your own in via the comments. Well, as always, we're going to start with the banker, and I'll come to you first, Billy.
I've got Port Vale to beat Hartlepool at 3-4. I think Port Vale, I know they've had disappointment in the last two games, but they're a side that have proven themselves this year, proven to be sort of ahead of the pack in terms of their performances and the results they have achieved so far. It's still 23 points from the last 12 games, despite the latest two defeats, and it's been quite a difficult run. So to come out with that at nearly 2 points per game is a very good achievement in my eyes, and I think they'll keep going from strength to strength. They play a Hartlepool side that have been awful away from home this season, just 4 points from 9, which includes just one win, and they've lost their last 4 on the bounce. So I think at 3-4, it's a perfect opportunity for Port Vale to get over their disappointment and go and win this game quite comfortably, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what about you then, Ben?
No, I've gone for a game in League One. I've gone with Burton at home against Doncaster. It's 17-20 with most bookies. I wouldn't say Burton have been in, sparkling form recently. I think they've lost 4 league games in a row before, thumping Accrington on 4-0. It was 4-0 on Tuesday. It was certainly an eye-catching result, even though Accrington haven't been in good form themselves recently. I think if they can get Daniel Jebison firing on a regular basis, obviously he scored twice on Tuesday, then I think they've got, a real chance of, moving up the table and playing a team who are in a real struggle. Doncaster have not picked up too many wins recently. They folded quite tamely against Bolton on Tuesday night. And I can probably see the same happening again here. The Burton that played Accrington on Tuesday turn up then. I think it could be a real comfortable success for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank's side.
Absolutely. So that's Billy picking Port Vale to beat Hartlepool, and for Ben, Burton over Doncaster. Well, then we come to the accumulator, and I'll start with you then, Ben.
Yeah, so obviously I've got Burton in my acca. This is a 5-fold this week. I'll stick in League One. I've got 2 games there. I've got Lincoln, who've not been in great form themselves recently, but they're playing an Accrington team who I've just said that got absolutely demolished by Burton on Tuesday. And I think without Dion Charles playing for the last few months, I think they've really slumped. But I think Lincoln could probably get back to winning ways here. They've not really picked up as many wins as they probably should have. They've not capitalised on that form from last season, which got them in the playoffs. But I can see him, getting back to winning ways here. Gone for Charlton as well. Shrewsbury did get a positive result against Sunderland in the week. We 1-1 draw, but I think that was a Sunderland side who, haven't been in the best form recently, but they come against a Charlton side who've been, reinvigorated under Johnny Jackson. Seems to be a different animal right now, picking up, wins home and away. I think it would be disappointing that they let a 2-goal lead slip against Morecambe in the week. But I think, this is a game where they can come good. So Charlton, Lincoln and Burton in League One, and then we'll move up to the Championship. I've gone with, which could be an interesting one considering recent form, Bournemouth to beat Coventry. I just think with Coventry drawing a blank in, the last 2 matches, it could be a chance for Bournemouth to, take advantage and get back to winning ways. They're not in great form themselves this month. They drew against Millwall. They've lost against Derby and Preston. So, it's, Scott Parker's probably going through his first little wobble as a Bournemouth manager. But I think with the squad they've got, you always fancy them to take advantage of teams lower down in the tail. Obviously, Coventry still in the playoff places, but drawing them blanks recently, especially Victor Gyökeres not really getting on the score sheet, would be quite a concern. And I've also gone with Swansea to beat Reading. I just think, what you're going to get with Swansea is going to be a lot of possession. They just need to find that consistent cutting edge. It took them a while to get past Barnsley and break them down, and they came alive in the latter part of the second half. I can just see him being a bit too good for Reading here. Obviously, they've got cutting edges themselves, the likes of Ajayi and Swift, but I just think that, Swansea with Patterson being in the form he's in, and, Pirro can make something out of nothing. So I think they should come out on top on Saturday. So I've gone with Bournemouth, Swansea, Burton, Charlton and Lincoln, and that accumulator with William Hill pays 28.87 to 1. So if you're putting a five on that, you'll get around 52 quid back.
Certainly some good value. I've got 5 there. And what about you then, Billy? Your accumulator?
Similar. I've gone with my banker as part of my accumulator with Port Vale to beat Hartlepool. I've then got Fulham to beat Preston, and I know with Fulham at the moment they've had that mini illness outbreak, but I still think the strength and depth that they still possess, that they're a side that are too good for the Championship, I believe, and sort of the players that they can bring in, even if they don't have the likes of Reed and Mitrovic and them sort of players, they've still got Cabano, they've still got Carvalho, Cavallero that can all come in without the likes of Kearney. They can reintroduce Chalabar, and they've just got the strength and depth is crazy, really. And Preston, I know it's 3 wins in 5, but still a little bit of a negative feeling within the camp there, it seems. And I do believe that Preston do possess quite a strong squad, but it does seem that something's not quite working out there. And I don't know if it was Ben, but I did see someone on Twitter say that they were quite lucky in the way that midweek game against Middlesbrough panned out. Emil Reese's expertise in front of goal seemed to come into fruition again. So I think that Fulham will have too much in this, and that probably comes down to every game they play this season. I do predict that they'll win every game. Next one, I've got Charlton as well. Charlton to beat Shrewsbury. Similar reasons to Ben there. 14 points from 6 games since Johnny Jackson took charge. They've been in brilliant form, and it's been quite a difficult run. The teams they've played, the likes of Sunderland and Rotherham, and they'll be eager to address that sort of collapse from being 2-0 up during the week. So I imagine they'll come back firing for that one. And the last one I've got is Forest Green Rovers to beat Bristol Rovers. And again, Bristol Rovers haven't been too bad in recent weeks. I think they've won 2 and drawn 2 in their last 4, seemingly turning the corner. But I think Forest Green are a team that have proved to be too good this season. 5 points at the top of the table, a game in hand as well. They've not struggled for consistency when they've had defeats. They've recovered really well. And yeah, I think they're 13 goals in 4. So yeah, they're firing in front of goal, and defensively they're solid as well. So those 4 comes in at 11.27 to 1.
Lovely stuff. And we'll next move on to the value bet. So this is obviously the part of the show where sort of Billy and Ben they found for you where they think that the betting markets are sort of giving up too much value. Billy, I'll come to you first. What's your selection this week?
I've gone for tonight's game. Nottingham Forest to beat West Brom. I think it's crazy that it's 19-4. West Brom for me have been poor recently. A lack of plan B is a sort of a phrase that's been associated with them at the moment, and to be fair, that's completely true. They've only picked up 8 points from their last 7, 2 goals in the last 5, and you think of the squad that they've got, that should not be associated with a team like West Brom, but that's the position they find themselves in. It seems that the sort of the playoff chasing teams are catching up with them, and their place in the actual playoffs is looking under threat at the moment. So it's quite negative, I think, around sort of the West Brom camp at the moment. West Brom fans are not too happy, and I think Nottingham Forest can take full advantage of that. Just one defeat in the last 10 games under Steve Cooper. Look a revitalised outfit as well. And yeah, I think what Forest are doing this year, they're well, especially under Cooper, playing an attractive brand of football and seemingly getting results as well. So two important ingredients for success. And I think that at 19-4 away to West Brom is quite good value.
Brilliant. And what about you then, Ben? I
feel almost a little bit dirty for picking this, but I've gone with Blackpool away at Birmingham. They were 11-4 with most bookies, so nearly 3-1. And I think, considering they've only lost one in the last 7, I know they've drawn the last 3, but before their last loss, they'd won 3 on the bounce. And I just think Birmingham, obviously, they lost Ryan Woods in midweek and they lost Gary Gordon in the game before, so they're really short in the middle of the park. And obviously with Chong's injury at the back end of October, they've been missing him for a little bit now, and they seem to have lost a little bit of that creative spark. And O'Reilly McGree's kind of picked it up somewhat, but the last 3 games have kind of been a bit more of a slump like they had in around September time. And I think they might have to throw in a teenager in Jordan James in midfield because of the sendings off. So they could be very weak in that regard. And I feel like Blackpool may just be able to, either soak up the pressure. They've probably got a few different game plans that can do that, like they did against Sheffield United, or they can attack Birmingham on the front foot. And I just think with Shane Lavery back as well recently, I think they could very easily take a win away from Birmingham this weekend. So yeah, 11-4. I think it's pretty decent value for a team going away from home who've not won in the last 3.
Absolutely, and yeah, certainly Blackpool, a team that the bookies have been sort of offering value on throughout the season. So those are the 2 value bets, and now we move on to the wild card. The wild cards obviously allow sort of Ben and Billy to pick something a little bit different. Ben, we'll come to you first. What have you gone for this week?
Well, I seem to normally switch up between a goal scorer bet and both teams to score a bet, and the goal scorer one didn't play off last week with me and Billy going for pretty similar ones. So I'm going to go over both teams scoring both halves again, try and pluck this one out. I've been close with them a few times this season. I'm going to go with Morecambe v MK Dons, both teams scoring both halves. It was one of the shorter ones, to be fair, in League One. There's a few 11-1, and this is one of them. I think it's a game where there's quite a few forwards who are pretty much banging form, Cole Stockton, Scott Twine, Max Waters. So it's a game where you can imagine there'll be quite a few goals. Both defences are relatively leaky as well. There's been lots of high-scoring Morecambe games, especially. So I just think if all the strikers that I've just mentioned are firing, it could be a real goals galore affair at the Missouri Stadium.
Brilliant. And what was the odds on that again?
11-1, Ned.
And what about you then, Billy?
I've gone for something completely different. The lack of success in my goal scorer bets is dragging me away from them. Gone for another little accumulator, but both teams to score and a team to win. And I've gone for Derby, Wimbledon and Exeter. Derby, 67% of their home games have seen both teams score. QPR, 78% of their away games. And you think of how Derby have been doing recently. They've really, really impressed against the best teams in the division. Obviously securing a 0-0 draw with Fulham and then beating Bournemouth 3-2 as well. So they're really starting to impose themselves, and I can see them getting another victory against a team that's quite in form in the division in QPR. I've also got Wimbledon to beat Fleetwood and both teams to score. 75% of Wimbledon's home games have seen both teams score, whereas 88% of Fleetwood's game at just one away game where both teams haven't scored this season. And I think with Fleetwood slumping in recent weeks, Simon Grayson departing, I think Wimbledon might be able to build on midweek momentum and get another win here. And the last one I've got is Exeter to beat Rochdale and both teams to score. 61% of Rochdale's total games this year have seen both teams score, and Exeter 67% of their total games. So all games that the numbers suggest that there might be lots of goals, and I think hopefully Exeter will win that game and get back to winning ways. That's quite a steep one. That's at 131-1. So yeah, one of the biggest ones I think I've seen so far.
Absolutely. Well, that's exactly the sort of thing we want from the wildcard. Well, those are all the picks that Ben and Billy have got for you today. Hopefully they help you have some success with it. What I said, as I said, is a sort of bumper weekend of EFL action. That's all from us on the betting show today. There's plenty more on Football League World TV today at 12 p.m. We're previewing the West Brom Nottingham Forest clash this evening with fans from both clubs on our Under the Microscope show. And then at 4 p.m, you're in the safe hands of Alfie Burns and Marcus Alley for the weekend preview show. Before we go, just a reminder as ever to please click that like button and also subscribe to Football League World TV on YouTube if you haven't already. Thank you to Ben and Billy, and thanks everyone for watching.